Good day everyone, I'm AzureBlaze, and welcome to another video where I sort of discuss my thoughts on something. And this will probably be the final video that I do on my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers in general, now that all the DLC is out and I have finished the game and all that sort of thing. I don't see myself doing another thoughts on one. I might do another special video, like as an it is important video, that might come along in the future at some point. However, I don't see that coming, at least in the current moment. However, yeah, this will be the last video I do on that. And I kind of want to split this video into two sections because in my last video on it, I had not finished the third DLC yet, and I have now done that. Not 100%, however, I have at least done all the bosses and everything like that. I have at least tried every cyberspace level, and I will be completing it 100% at one point, however. I have finished it nonetheless, and I will first do my thoughts, like my overall thoughts on the third DLC, and then in the second half of the video, or however long it is, I will do my entire thoughts on the game now as a package now that all the DLC has come out. And as you can probably tell, this is not scripted at all. I've sort of come straight off playing it a little bit more because I at least wanted to try all the cyberspace stages for DLC 3 before I started. And yeah, I think I shall get into my overall thoughts on Sonic Frontiers. As sort of stated, I came off the DLC 3 cyberspace stages straight away, pretty much right off it into making this video, doing a few things in between, something like that. Anyway, yeah, I came straight onto that, and my overall thoughts on DLC 3 are fairly positive, to be honest. I've seen some discourse online about whether it's good or bad or whatever, and for the most part I enjoyed it. I personally don't think it's as strong as the majority of the game, and whilst it's probably the most expansive DLC, I don't know if I can call it my favorite DLC, simply because of, I mean, while it adds a lot that I'm really excited to have there, it as well causes a lot of issues, in my opinion, with the stuff that it adds. Not in anything like harmful way to the game or anything that really, however, more little frustrations and things like that. To sort of get into it, yeah, no, I first want to talk about the cyberspace stages. They are extremely difficult, and I don't mind that. I like difficult stages. However, some of these feel somewhat unfair to a point, and I don't know, that was a little bit iffy. However, there's one specific cyberspace stage, I believe it's H, that I cannot get past at the moment because you have to platform on these angled boxes, and some of them you can land on and some of them you can't because you slip straight off and all that sort of thing. And sometimes I find it difficult to tell when my depth perception is and all that sort of thing, to tell me my depth perception to figure out where Sonic is in relation to a box, and I fall straight past, and it's a whole thing. And that stage, I haven't been able to get past it properly yet. I think the worst part about it is the new taking animals to specific spots part they put in all the cyberspace stages. I don't like any of them. They really slow down the pace of the stage. They make it horrible. They take away most of Sonic's control, and it's painful. To be honest, I don't like doing them. And once I've finished doing them, I'm glad that I won't have to do them again. I believe I've S-ranked at least one of the cyberspace stages thus far. And I will go do everything eventually. That is the plan. However, my gosh, I am at the moment. Yeah, no, I cannot. However, moving on from that, I guess, as I sort of touched on in the last video, the playable characters I am extremely happy about, except for how Knuckles controls. I don't really like that. However, I did speak on that in the last video, therefore I won't go over it too much here. And when it comes to the trials, as I sort of said in the last video, I could not get past Wyvern. I have now gotten past Wyvern, and Night was not too difficult, to be honest. Anyway, although I did fail once with Night, which I think it's because I didn't have enough rings left after Wyvern. Did I fail once or twice? I think I failed twice, because at one point when I was on the ground, I got hit and then lost most of my rings, which was a whole thing again. Anyway, yeah, no, Night, I got past all that. Got the new supersonic abilities, which weren't that different, to be honest. I thought they were going to do something super special with it. However, the only thing was that he can now parry specific attacks, which is a thing, I guess. The new Supreme boss battle, I both think is amazing. and I have a lot of problems with it at the same time. The basic Supreme Boss battle's the same, not that much different to it. You can take it out really quickly. The new part after that with the end, the amount of times I had trouble with this specifically because I didn't know you were meant to take the cord out of his head. Like, there wasn't really anything that sort of stated that I could see at least. And I don't know, I could not figure it out for a while. And the way you have to lock onto it is by dodging, which is very strange. Yeah, no, that's very strange. I didn't like that at all. And that took me way too long to figure out. I eventually ended up looking it up because I got really confused and I had no idea what I was doing wrong. And then I took him out. And yeah, that was sort of the end of that. I really like the new remix of I'm Here. I've been listening to it on loop a fair bit recently. And yeah, overall, I enjoyed the final boss, the new final boss. I like all the new things you get to do with it. I like how Supersonic feels like overpowered. However, they didn't really do much with him. He really only feels overpowered because of his animations and all that sort of thing. I find it interesting that they changed the ending of the game with Sage. Like, not technically, I guess, because Sage is technically like alive in the main game. However, she had to be like brought back from basically a hard drive to do it. Where this one, she simply doesn't. She doesn't get taken out, which is okay. Interesting. And then like the final cutscene is pretty much the same, almost. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think overall it lends for a better ending, story-wise. However, to be honest, I kind of preferred playing the original The End boss, and I think that's simply because I found it a little bit more fun. However, I don't know, there was something with this Supreme one that I didn't like. And however, at the same time, yeah, I do think it makes for a better overall ending. And at the same time, I did enjoy the boss battle. However, there were some things with it that I was like, Anyway, yeah, that's about it for DLC 3 though. There's not much really left to talk about, I guess. Like, I'm going to go 100% the rest of it and get everything like that. However, I don't know, it really was more of a add all these things to one specific island and let the other characters do it. And in the end, like, I guess I set my expectations a little bit lower than most. Therefore, my expectations were sort of overcome, actually, I think. I'd say the most, however, I'm not even sure what other people set their expectations to. However, I had a feeling there was something going on and I didn't want to set my expectations too high for it. And I'm glad I didn't, because in the end I ended up being surprised, which is good. That was nice. However, yeah, I don't know, there were a lot of things that I had at least a little bit of issue with. However, that is DLC 3. I did quite enjoy it, and now I shall move on to my sort of overall thoughts on the entire game. Alrighty, now that the final game is complete, I guess, with all the DLC, I do think the new DLC battle makes the overall game a little bit more coherent, to be honest. However, it is separated as well from the main game, therefore it's neither here nor there. When looking at the game with all the DLC included, I am really happy. I have really enjoyed, like, basically this whole last year since it came out in November last year, almost a year, about a month off roughly now from where I'm talking about it. And yeah, I really enjoy how much it's like changed. I think probably the biggest addition for me was the spin dash. That is such a big life changer. Even within DLC 3 with the new characters, when you unlock the spin dash, you don't even need to worry about trying to get the speed up or anything like that, because you spin dash everywhere. It's great. The spin dash has been such a good thing, and it allows me to... I think the momentum that you can get from it is probably the best thing. And that's one thing overall for this entire game, is the momentum and the physics. It can be very dodgy. It can be very all over the place. However, for the most part, making sure... Well, not making sure, I guess. Being able to, like, take the physics that it is limited to and breaking the game a lot, or flying over things and all that sort of thing. It's such a fun thing, and that's what I enjoy out of it, and that's what I enjoy out of, like, Sonic Adventure 1 as well. I personally wouldn't put this game probably even in my top 10 games of all time, of which 2 Sonic games at the very least sit in there. And yeah, no, and not even to say that those games are better than this game, or this game is not better like than them and all that sort of thing. There's one of those games, Black Knight, is definitely, I think, considered by most to be worse. However, I prefer it over this game. I think it's simply that I don't know. I prefer more level-based Sonic, and I think the big downside for this game for me was the levels didn't feel that good. The cyberspace stages, they never really were. I guess like the physics never really worked as well in them. The stages themselves, well, while they're fun, like they're overall fun and you can enjoy them, like being basically remakes of other things and only having basically 4 themes that go towards them, that's a little bit of a down for me. However, overall, I did enjoy the cyberspace stages. They're probably the weakest part of the game though, and I would like to see more, like, I guess, new and expansive level-based things, because I do like 3D Sonic stages, like linear stages like that. I have enjoyed the open world though. I like, that's not saying that the open world is not amazing. I honestly think it is great. Not even open world, open zones. My favorite island is probably Ares. I like how sandy it is, and it looks the best in my opinion, simply because you don't have as much grass popping in front of you every time you're running around, which is the whole thing. Yeah, with the first DLC, everything that came with it, whilst a little bit minor, I think went quite well with the game. DLC 2, the birthday one, I don't know, I really like those challenge missions. That's probably the most fun I've had with this game, were those little challenge missions that you had to do. I really enjoyed them, and the music with them was great, to be honest. DLC 2 was probably my favorite DLC. DLC 3, overall I think it's pretty okay. There's things that I'm not terribly happy with, and then there's things that I really, really like. It's sort of like, yeah, it's a little bit all over the place. However, in the end, I think it makes for a better overall product for the whole game itself. And I think the whole game, one thing I noticed when the game first came out was people saying it wasn't worth the price that it was. Here in Australia, it was $110, which I'm pretty sure via inflation doesn't work. It's higher. However, I honestly thought at launch it was worth that much, and that's my opinion. However, like for $110, I had this 40-hour game that I played and all that sort of thing, and I really, really enjoyed. Now that the DLC added onto it, it's larger and more expansive, and it's all free. I think that's the biggest thing to think about there. It was all free DLC. I think it made a huge impact on the game overall, and I really like that. I think I'm in the 50 hours and all that sort of thing, and I think that's great. For $110, that's not bad here, especially when you can get like other games for like $100 here that are nowhere near as, like, I guess, eventful and all that sort of thing. Like, a game doesn't need to be long to be worth that, in my opinion. However, yeah, games are not cheap down in Australia, and I think for the most part, yeah, I did quite enjoy it overall though. I think looking back on the last year that I spent with this game, it has been really good fun. Almost a year. It has been really, really good fun, and making these videos as well have been really, really fun. Like, sort of, I've had this like long journey, and I can sort of like see with my videos, I can watch it progress, like this one game, and I kind of like really enjoy that. It's very similar to how I've been doing with Pokemon and all that sort of thing, and looking back at like this like visible representation of my journey with a game, as opposed to simply having the memories. I like that. However, yeah, I believe overall this game is pretty darn good. I like it a lot. Again, not really in my top 10, not in my top 5 Sonic games either, I would say. Or maybe. It might be. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I have like Unleashed, Black Knight, Generations, and it might be a little bit after that somewhere. I don't know. I've not really figured out where I'm sitting everything at. However, yeah, I believe that is all from me. I did quite enjoy this game. Thank you for watching, and I shall be back in the next one. Cheers, everyone.